Well, it wasn't the prettiest win, but we got another one. Still some di disappointing factors again, obviously with the kicking game. I don't want to put too much of it on Cardi. Clearly looks like the win had some sort of effect on the kicking as far as that missed field goal is concerned. And I don't know. I mean, did we win? Yeah. And I guess, you know, me doing this, I have to look at it through a different lens now, right? I can't just I don't want to say not sit down as a fan and enjoy it because I do sit down as a fan and enjoy it, but I also have to be realistic with some of the things that are going on with this team. And there's some positive, but there's a lot of negative. The defense looked pretty good, all things considering. Obviously, we didn't play today like we did last week against San Francisco, which, you know, still bothers me. Uh, the kicking game is obviously it's still an issue. The I don't know if the weather had a lot to do with some of Matthew Stafford's balls being overthrown and um Devontae Adams missing a couple of drop balls that he usually catches. I don't know. Am I concerned about the offense? Not really. Not really. Do I think eventually we're going to see a different team moving forward? Or as the year, I mean, as the weeks go by, yeah, I think the offense is going to look very different. I think once we start to get into, I would probably say maybe after the bye week, right? These guys get a chance to rest and excuse me, and we just get a chance to kind of see what they look like after some rest, especially after Puka Nacua got hurt and Blake Corum. We really have to fix this red zone offense because again we get into the red zone and we stall, and we can't afford to keep doing that, especially against some of these more elite teams. Moving forward, especially when it comes to playing San Francisco again and Seattle twice and Arizona twice and just Jacksonville next week in in um in London. So am I optimistic about the offense? 100%. I think eventually this offense will get better. We just, you know, some things, and again, it sounds like it's nitpicking, but not really. I mean, do I think the weather had some effect on the game? I mean, yeah, you could say that. I mean, we saw the wind, how the wind was blowing over there. Um, Now, and I know Rams fans and I know media members are going to start asking what was Sean McVay thinking on that fourth down inside the red zone and going for it instead of kicking the field goal and getting the points. I understand what the mindset is. And I wasn't mad about the call, even when he decided to go for it on fourth down. I completely understood it. Excuse me. Excuse me 1 second. I understand the call. I mean, at this point, the special teams has been very horrible this year. The kicking game hasn't been very dependable, so it's you got to pick your poison. And unfortunately, he decided to go for it on fourth down. I'm not mad about the call. I understand the call. I probably would have done the same thing too, considering that the special teams has been our Achilles, especially inside the red zone, or inside in between the 40 and the 10. It's been very horrible. So, and then when you factor in as many times as these field goals have gotten blocked, right? Just because of the penetration on, special teams defense, getting through the lane, whether missed blocks or just mismanaged special teams line. I don't know. I understood the call. I'm not mad about it. Um, Excuse me. I don't have nothing to say about nothing negative to say about the call because, like I said, I would have did the same thing too. Especially when you consider that our special teams has been the Achilles heel for this team since the season started. Um, and I think a lot of times what we have too is we have these mental lapses on the football field. Um, and I get it because you got a bunch of young guys on the football team, and you're gonna have these mental lapses, and uh, like I said, I it was a win, and that's all you can hope for. We didn't walk away with the loss. Could we easily be 6-0 right now? Absolutely. Could things have gotten worse? Yeah, they could have, but they did it, and we ended up winning with the win. Like I said, I have no concerns for this team moving forward, none whatsoever. This team will eventually be better. Like I said, we got believe it or not, we got a tough test coming up against Jacksonville next week. And I told people before the season started, privately, not I said this privately, and because I obviously didn't have this platform before the season started, but I said be on the lookout for Jacksonville. Jacksonville was going to be a problem this year just because of just because of who they hired to be their GM and who they hired to be their head coach. I already knew, this is going to be Detroit 2.0, or it's going to be the Rams 3.0 because this is exactly what they did in Detroit. Is exactly what they're doing in Jacksonville. So it's going to be a very I'm anticipating a very good game against Jacksonville next week. I I am I am a little concerned about the offensive line though. Uh, Today they looked okay, but there's still some things we need to clean up. There's still some things we need to fix. I think the offensive line. Like I said, the offense it sputters, and this team doesn't play a full 4 quarters, and that worries me because once we start to see these better football teams, I want to say, once we start seeing these better football teams, that's when we're going to be tested even more. If you think we were tested last week against the 49ers, I mean, again, we still got Seattle's coming up, who's playing really good ball right now. We got Jacksonville coming up. We still got to play Detroit, again, you know what I mean? So we got some very big games coming up that they know that we're gonna have to try to prove ourselves to these guys. Um, and it's gonna be an interesting rest of the year. I still think while Akello is out, I still think we need to make a significant trade to bring in somebody at the corner position that's a veteran. I say someone like CJ Gardner Johnson, because that's a guy you can use in the playoffs, especially when we're playing against a team like Philadelphia, right? And he's a veteran. He's been there before. He just won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia last season. Um, but I think that's a guy that can help out. And once Akello returns, then you got a combination of Akello and Gardner Johnson and Forbes. And I know people kind of scratch their heads with that notion of, someone like CJ Garner Johnson coming in. I'm like, well, I mean, think about it. We did trade for Marcus Peters, right? And then eventually we traded away Marcus Peters away to Baltimore in order for us to trade for Jalen Ramsey. And like I said before, I think, like I told somebody before, I think that the thing with Sean McVay is he allows guys to be themselves. And I think someone like CJ Gardner Johnson will flourish with this defense and Chris Shula. So that's just my 2 cents about it. Like I said, we got Jacksonville coming up again. It's another win. It wasn't the most exciting win. We didn't put up big numbers. But again, we do have to fix that red zone issue moving forward because again, we can't afford to not score points and kick field goals, especially when the special teams has been horrible. So, um, do I have a feeling that do I expect this team to be better? 100%, 100% moving forward. But you let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'll be back again next week after the Rams Jacksonville game. Until then, see you, my Rams fans. I'm out.